ghost activity, fringe science, interdimensional beings, psychic phenomenon, and conspiracy theories. Does the truth exist? How close are we to finding it? Come listen and discover the answers yourself. Welcome to the Paranormal MD, where the out of the ordinary is discussed weekly. Join your host, Mary Marshall, and her guest as they inform, discuss, and entertain you. Mary welcomes your input during the program, so call in and let your opinions and voice be heard. And be sure to join us at WHVRdigital.com, where live chat is provided. Talk radio just got weirder, wiser, and more interesting. Now, here is your host of the Paranormal MD Radio Show, Mary Marshall. Only on WHVR Digital Broadcasting.
Hello and welcome to the Paranormal MD. I'm Mary Marshall, your host, and it is my pleasure to be here tonight with all of you. And it is a lovely evening at that, despite the fact that I have had the flu. So I've been on, I'm all steamed up, I'm medicated up, I've got my cough drops, and other than I may start talking in tongues in a little while, I think we're going to be doing well tonight. Anyway, tonight in a few minutes, I will be tackling both some new technology that will completely transform our lives, and I will also be tying in some current conspiracy topics with this as well. I'm going to be addressing Google and the NSA, which is the National Security Administration. Also, a little bit later in the show, the guest for this evening is Scott Gruenwald. Scott is a paranormal investigator, comedian, TV journalist, public speaker, and television and internet personality. He has a show titled Paranormal Stew. So what is the Paranormal Stew, you ask? Well, I suppose we can just ask Scott himself in a little while. It happens to be a show, though, that he produces and directs and writes. It is a comedy show. It is on, it basically pokes fun at the paranormal field and those in it. And I absolutely love the fact that he does that, because many of us in here just take ourselves way too seriously. So the comedy is purely adult content, so, if you're easily offended, whatever you do, don't watch. Okay, I really want you to watch, but that is often a tagline that he has said, or has some of those in the entertainment industry, like Jennifer Love Hewitt, say. So they've piped in about the show and tongue-in-cheek, playfully say, whatever you do, don't watch the Paranormal Stew. So it's just an awesome show, and he's an awesome guy. Scott is also an investigative TV journalist for a television show that airs on the Travel Channel called Paranormal Paparazzi. Just so some of you know, depending upon where you live, as I have discovered when I went and searched out this show, is that apparently, even though it's on the Travel Channel, it does not air across all of their, I don't know, is it affiliate stations, the satellite affiliates, cable? I don't know what it is, but I'm not sure. I just know that in my area, the Chicagoland area, and my particular carrier, I cannot watch it. And this upsets me because I really want to watch it. I've caught a couple of the episodes on the internet, and it is just an awesome show. So I would love to be watching it. So if this is your case, I don't know. I say that we write cable companies, satellite companies, travel channels, somebody, I don't know who, I'm not sure who's responsible for this travesty. But let's get this show airing everywhere that the Travel Channel is available, which only makes sense to me, but who am I but just one person? So maybe if you agree, you can help me. If you would like to call into the show a little later on, we will be opening the phone lines, and the direct studio phone line is 618-421-4522. And for those of you who are listening and you are not in the chat room, you should come and join us over in the chat room right now at whvrdigital.com. So whether you're an experienced or a newbie to the chat rooms, the chat at WHVR is where it's at. It's just a perfect place, and you this way you are with like-minded people who are listening to the show. And while you're listening, you can interact with them, make comments, post questions in the chat room to be asked of me or the guest. And your chat master, Pam, will relay your questions to me and ask for you. So share some of your thoughts and some laughs with other like-minded people. And come and join us in the chat room at whvrdigital.com. Like I said, Pam will be giving me your questions, and of course I'll be checking in with her periodically throughout the broadcast to find out what you're thinking about what is going on, and basically what your comments, your thoughts are. And also, if I would like to say at this point, is that if you haven't already done so, please download the handy dandy Take Us on the Go WHVR phone app. It's a great place. It's a great way to take us on the go. You can use it on obviously on your tablet, your iPad, as well as your phone. I actually have the chat room open. Not that I can always be looking in there, but I nonetheless have it open. See a couple faces in there that I know, Bob and Laura and Anton, and there is Frank. Frank is in there. I recognize the name, so hi. The other thing, excuse me, and I apologize. I'm just going to say this right now. I'm going to try to catch it, but occasionally you're going to hear a little cough, a little something going on. I'm going to do the best I can. But also, if you haven't done so already, don't forget to sign up for the Roundtable Listener Discussion Panel. This is your opportunity to be part of the show and voice your thoughts and opinions on topics that you may have a special interest in, or you just want to have a voice on. You will join me and a couple of other listeners live on the air during one of the broadcasts. You can check out the topic and sign up to be a guest for the Roundtable Discussion Panel at theparanormalmd.com. That form is on the home page. I am going to, before we get into the whole national security thing in Google, I wanted to touch base on an article that I had come across, and it has to do with why rational people buy into conspiracy theories. Basically, what they're proposing, and this is coming from, is that as crazy as some of the really outrageous theories can be, those propagating them are not, and that they're really quite normal, in fact. The scientists basically and the research is telling us is that if you think that one of these theories is plausible, you probably feel the same way about others, even though they may even contradict each other. So the best predictor in the belief of conspiracy theory is belief in other conspiracy theories, says a psychology professor. And a lot of these I've really found kind of interesting is that what she further goes is to start talking about the psyche of this, is that our access, obviously the information is vastly improved. And, you would think that this would help kind of calm the voice, calm these theories, but actually it just does the opposite. It only serves to make them more convincing to the public because you can choose whatever platform you want. And that why the psychologists don't know exactly what goes on inside our heads over this, they do find that there are some common traits. Conspiracy theories also seem to be, I'm going to read this, seem to be more compelling to those with low self-worth, especially those, especially with regard to their sense of agency in the world. So our conspiracy theories appear to have a way of reacting to uncertainty and powerlessness, and overall base increase during economic recessions, terrorist attacks, natural disasters, or any type of looming threat, that those things that give us that feeling of having little power over what is occurring and how it is occurring, those are the things that are going to prompt us to make repeated, it kind of sends our analytical powers into overdrive, and prompting us to reassess the information in an attempt to create an understanding. So a lot of this, I like I said, I found it just kind of interesting that I wanted to read this because there's a lot of people out there, and sometimes you buy into it some and sometimes not so much. So right before I kind of get started here. So I'm going to give you a couple highlights before we go, and then I'm going to go to a quick break. But let's start with some highlights over about the facts that involve Google being in bed with the National Security Administration. The National Security Agency has broken into the main communications that link and connect not just Google, but Yahoo and Google data centers around the world, according to documents obtained from former NSA contractor Edward Snowden, and other interviews with other officials as well. According to the top secret accounting dated January 9, 2013, the NSA acquisition sends millions of records every day from internal Yahoo and Google networks to data warehouses at the agency's headquarters in Maryland. And basically, this is the thing that we don't know on this either, is it's including the metadata, which indicates who sent and who received emails and when, and even as much as well as the context, such as the text, audio, and or video content of those emails and exchanges. Another one is that the I'll get this out right. The NSA's principal tool to exploit the data links is a project called Muscular, M-U-S-C-U-L-A-R, operated jointly with the agency's British counterpart, the Government Communications Headquarters. And this is from undisclosed points. So the NSA and the GCHQ are copying entire data flows across fiber optic cables that carry information. Next, the infiltration is especially striking because the NSA, under a separate program known as PRISM, P-R-I-S-M, love all these acronyms here, has front door access to Google and Yahoo user accounts through court-approved process. Next is then we have that the Muscular project appears to be an unusually aggressive use of NSA tradecraft against specific American companies, not saying which in particular, but American companies. So the agency is built for high-tech spying with a wide range of digital tools, but it has not been known to use them in past years routinely against U.S. companies. Now, I find this really all rather interesting because the plot just continues to thicken of who's involved, who said what, how they said it, when they said it. and this is, I by no means am an expert on this topic, but I can tell you that during the course of my research, that articles that are going back sometimes as much as 3 years, but also even as much as 10 years ago, that are already addressing this, as far as how this is all going to run. So basically this is how it starts, is that the court allows the National Security Administration and Google to keep their ties secret. So this particular article was published in May of 2012. A federal appeals court refused to force the U.S. National Security Agency to explain any involvement it had with the web giant Google, citing that a revelation could threaten the entire United States government. Okay. Well, according to an article in the Washington Post, dated about a year later, on October 13th of 2013, the National Security Agency has broken into, now this is the claim, like Google knows, is astounded. What is going on? That the National Security Agency has broken into the main communications link that connects Google and Google data centers around the world. Now, this is again according to the former NSA contractor Edward Snowden. By tapping into those links, the agency has positioned itself to collect at will from hundreds of millions of user accounts, many of them belonging to Americans. The NSA does not keep everything it collects, but it keeps a lot. According to a top-secret account in January of 13, the acquisition sends millions of records every day from internal Yahoo and Google networks to their warehouse. The NSA is also working on the data acquisition, as I mentioned just a moment ago, from the British agency counterpart. Now, here's the thing. In a statement, Google chief legal officer David Drummond said that the company has long been concerned about the possibility of this kind of snooping and has not provided the government with access to its systems. Well, I will leave you with that thought, and I will continue when we get back, but we have to take a brief break, so don't go anywhere. I will be talking more about Google, technology, and the Security Administration. So grab a drink, and like I said, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back in just a few minutes.
This is your radio on other networks. This is your radio on WHVR Digital Broadcasting. Any questions? Spirit Readings by Nicole. Nicole provides intuitive astrological charts, one-on-one psychic and tarot readings via telephone, Skype, or in person. To schedule your appointment, call Nicole today at 630-532-8494 or visit Spirit Readings by Nicole on the web at spiritreadingsbynicole.com. Spirit Readings by Nicole, 630-532-8494. The Amazing Leonard, one of Chicagoland's best clairvoyants, The Amazing Leonard offers telephone and private one-on-one psychic readings with free long distance to the United States and Canada. Schedule your appointment today at 847-882-4331 or visit AmazingLeonard.com. The Amazing Leonard, gifted psychic. Don't wait. Call or visit today. Soul Connections. Located in Johnstown, Ohio, psychic medium Becky Ratliff offers private readings, angel readings, and tarot readings. Professional development classes and special event bookings also available by request. set up your confidential reading or appointment, please call 614-208-9802. That's 614-208-9802. Psychic Becky Ratliff of Soul Connections. Call today to see what your future holds. This is your radio on other networks. This is your radio on WHVR Digital Broadcasting. Any questions?
Hello and welcome back. I'm Mary Marshall, your host, and you are listening to the Paranormal MD Show on WHVR Digital Broadcasting. If you'd like to call in with a question or a comment, the phone line is 618-421-4522. If you are listening to us at WHVRdigital.com, then please know you can also listen to us on the go via the WHVR phone app. And this way, we're always with you. I want to take a second, and I want to get this out there now because I don't want to forget, is that I have some birthdays. And I know this is goofy. I started the whole NSA, but I don't want to run out of time and miss these people. I have a couple of listeners whose birthday it is today. I discovered this while during a Facebook exchange over the show, that their birthdays fell on today. And so during this whole thing, I thought, how cool. I said, oh, yeah, I'll say happy birthday. And I thought, how cool would it be to be able to do this every week for people if they want? So I would like you to go to the radio website and which is the paranormalmdradio.com, and at that point you will see a section on there in the menu that is for you to submit yourself or a loved one's birthday that falls during the week of my show. And I figure this is something that I can do from my little corner of the world for somebody else. So that's exactly what I'm doing. In the meantime, so let me at this point say happy birthday to Wilbur Fike Jr., who lives in Baltimore, Maryland. Happy birthday to you. I hope it's a good one. And another birthday is for Lori Johnson, who lives in Maryland. Lori, I hope you're having an awesome birthday too. And if you're not, and you're listening, and if you're not listening, that you're having some birthday cake. You're doing something good. But then eat it and come back and listen. Okay. So now let me continue on with the Google. All right, here's what gets kind of crazy about this whole thing is, as we were talking about that, this David Drummond, who was a statement, who's the Google's chief legal officer. And this, again, is from an article in October of 13, who said, the company has long been concerned about the possibility of this kind of snooping and has not provided the government with access to its systems. We are outraged at the lengths to which the government seems to have gone to intercept data from our private fibers network, and it underscores the need for urgent reform. Now, here's where I have a little bit of a problem with this. Is that, wait, Yahoo too. There's a spokeswoman from Yahoo who said, we have strict controls in place to protect the security of our data, and from the National Security Administration or any other government agency. Well, I find this a little funny that they say this. and this is coming right from Google's chief legal officer, but wait, here's an article that dates back to February of 2010. Google is teaming, and this is February 4th, 2010. Google is teaming up with the National Security Administration to investigate the recent hack against its networks in a bid to prevent another assault. So this is how it started. They're proposing that they have, teamed up with them because they were trying to address the security breach that they were hacked. So what they further said is that what they've told you is that this is about an investigation of a hack involving China. I think we have good reason to believe that there's a lot more going on. Now, the interesting thing is that comment was made by Director Mark Rottenberg from Google. And yet when it was more pressed for it, Google at that point in time declined to comment any further. So, basically this was at the time of the hack. And we are, and that they were working with U.S. authorities, but they don't have any comment beyond that. So what exactly was Google's chief officer, David Drummond, meaning when he said they've been long concerned about the NSA? If you go to another article I came across, March of 2012, this is where the court allows the NSA and Google to keep their ties secret. In that decision, the justices quote, a past Post article in which NSA Director Mike McConnell said a collaboration between his agency and private companies like Google was inevitable. Well, here's again my concerns come in, or where all of our concerns come in, is that everybody seems to have trying to cover their behinds here, telling little variations on the stories, not being totally forthright. The statement about the relationship between Google and all, well, if Google really wasn't aware of it, or if they really had those concerns, why would they, at that point after this, not comment further about it? And then also, if they had concerns about it, why, when it was in court, would Google have not somehow, at least a partial disclosure as far as what was going on, have chosen that versus just not saying, anything and saying, okay, it's secret. If the court says, again, we don't know. I don't know for sure, nor does anybody, what most of the time is going on in this. But basically this appeal, explains the appeal ruling, is the existence of a relationship or communications between the NSA and any private company certainly constitutes an activity of the agency subject to protection. And so whether the relationship or any communications pertaining to that relationship were initiated by Google or NSA is irrelevant to our analysis. There's a lot of fishy stuff going on here. A lot of fishy stuff going on with all of this. You have to bring in some more agencies into this. You have the Google and the CIA and the National Security Administration connection on this all. This just, I don't even know how to explain how this just keeps getting more and more convoluted as to, the things that are out there. There is an article dating back to March of 2008 in which Google is selling storage and data searching equipment to U.S. intelligence agencies. Now, initially, they're selling it to them, I'm sure, at profit, at cost, but there's already a relationship being built. And that the CIA, the FBI, and the National Security Agency have all reportedly banded together to create an internal government internet that's sharing the data on a system called Intelpedia. Yeah, little strange. And that there's 3 levels of information available to the users: top secret, secret, sensitive, but classified. So, last week, and I didn't write down the I talked about this, and I didn't write down the exact date, but it was last week. The Washington Post ran a story that should, but won't, finally make government spying a household issue. Under the name PRISM, the NSA has a direct line into the servers of leading internet companies. This includes, as we just got done saying, Google, but also Yahoo, Facebook, Skype, and others. So for years, they have been able to tap into virtually all of the information that these companies have collected about people using cross connections and logins to track people across the entire internet. The Post is somewhat unclear as to whether the actual content is being collected, or metadata, for example. So, meaning like an email timestamp and so on. The thing about all of this that really starts getting into it is that we are, as a society, and these are where my concerns come in, not standing up and yelling loudly enough about all of this. It's a very strange place that this country is in right now. And, a lot of the things that are going on as far as when it has to do with this is very concerning. Here's another thing. And just to kind of describe a little bit, let's look at that PRISM and what it is, and if the NSA is is it a conspiracy or a non-conspiracy? What is it? So in an article posted by Daniel, and I'm very poor at saying last names, but Quintiliani, Daniel Quintiliani, basically asking if the NSA conspiracy is a conspiracy, and that are their activities illegal? Various PRISM-like incidents have been exposed through the 90s and the 2000s, and now proven conspiracy theories filled in the gap. So he is purporting, as I continue on with this a little bit more, is that this has been going on, for like the last 20 years at least. In the mid to late 1990s, when mass marketing internet access was at its infancy, at that point in time, the National Security Administration attempted several times to promote a clipper, as they called it, a clipper chip and key escrow, where all computers in the U.S. would have a back door for law enforcement. This, what do they call it? The pre-Nikon, then free market Republicans successfully fought Clinton and the NSA, and this was all taking place pre 9/11. So this might have something to do with part of how this came about, or how it turned out at that point. So some of you might remember, though, that back in the late 90s, when your bank told you to upgrade your browser, it was based on this 120-bit, HTTPS, which is supposed to be replacing a 56-bit. Well, this was due to the data encryption standard, which was developed by, you guessed it, the National Security Administration in the 1970s. Its invulnerability was considered scientific fact until it was cracked in 1999 in less than a day. So the NSA continued to play catch-up with, slightly better security that led to, some of the conspiracy theories that we're thinking about. So they're saying that this is initially why this was put in there. Then in 1999, a group of Canadian researchers discovered that since Windows 95, a Windows security file contained the mysterious English word, and I'll spell it, NSAKEY, among its secret computer code. Microsoft claimed that the English meant that the secret code compiled with NSA standards. This created yet another conspiracy theory. So thanks to Edward Snowden, this has now been proven true. So let's move it forward. 2002. Bush began a program identical to PRISM called Total Information Awareness, known for its creepy Illuminati-style logo. The program was supposedly shut down after complaints by members of Congress. Again, we now know that this is not true, and this has been already proven false. In 2005, PRISM, as applied to the telephone companies including AT&T and Verizon, was exposed. This made Bush II a felon, and various lawsuits against the telephone companies and the NSA were filed. Congress, including, all kinds of things, just went crazy with all of this and all the guilty parties and trying to give immunity to Bush and Democrats or anybody else who was involved and ending all lawsuits. So the bottom line is there's countless examples going back all the way to the 1970s that have to do with this type of thing being developed. And obviously it wasn't really, in a place to be, to be dealt with until the internet is being accessed as it is and used as it is now. The thing that scares me or concerns me is when you start incorporating the Google technology that was being spoon-fed to us in increments, it really gets to be a whole lot scarier. And I'm using the term scary, and maybe that's not the right term because it really is beyond concern. We need to have that concern for ourselves because it's just going to keep getting worse. It's going to get worse, and we're going to get to a stage where we're going to start knowing less and less. You're going to have these kind of like little groups out there that are going to be trying to get this information to us under the wire because your mainstream media is not going to be covering this. All right, so now one thing I do want to mention is that in 1998, the Internet was deregulated from the Department of Defense to a trade group called the Internet Corporation. And for assigned names, I guess they refer to it as ICANN. This largely secretive organization consists of the world's major corporations, and that everything from, the IP to web host and others have all assigned names, and it's just crazy of how this is connected. And the domain owners. So let's just push this forward for just a couple last little facts before we talk a little further about this freely, is that the NSA conspiracy theories really do turn out to be correct. And this is according to June 13 article by David Icke. It is, and here's the highlights from that. Under the name PRISM, the NSA had a direct line into the servers of leading Internet companies, as we already established, Google, Facebook, Skype, and others, for years, and they've been collecting and tapping into virtually all of the information that these companies have collected about people using cross connections and logins to track people across the entire internet. Their justification is that certain statistical signifiers are used to indicate at least 51% with 51% certainty that a target isn't American. Though through a course of even when they were spying on foreigners, they end up pulling lots of data on Americans as well. Well, I just need to stop at this point because spying is spying. And we obviously are going to have concern for ourselves first as Americans, but I'm sure that any other country doesn't, especially if it does not seem to be any hostile relationship going on. Why would we do that? Why would we even need to do that? But again, well, I'll stop. I'll get to that. On the bright side, it is a funny thing that it turns out that all of these conspiracies about the NSA really do kind of turn out to be correct. You know, for years, you know, it's like you got the kooky nuts out there who have insisted that the NSA has been watching over every electronic communication in America, and sadly, it turns out that they're right. It also turns out that the NSA is spying on our elected representatives. After Senator Sanders asked the NSA whether it spied on members of Congress, the NSA responded, saying that the NSA's authorities to collect signals, collect intelligence data, included procedures to protect the privacy of a U.S. person, however, that in fact it does spy on members of Congress. Countering it, though, at the same time, it has been mentioned that members of Congress have the same privacy as protections as all U.S. persons. So, in other words, yes, we spy on members of Congress just like all other Americans. For contrast, here's what NSA would have said if it wasn't spying on Congress. The Constitution provides for a separation of powers between the executive branch and so on and so forth, and it goes on. Would have given other reason. We will need to take a brief break, and then I will be back, and we're going to discuss a little bit more about this, give you my thoughts on it, and talk about some of the technologies that are going to feed into this as well. So if you haven't already done so, please join us in the chat room at whvrdigital.com. And at that point, you know, you can come and take a listen, come and chat, call in, and we'll be right back in just about 3 minutes. So don't go far. Grab a drink, kiss a loved one if you have one next to you, and we will be back. So hang in there.
Got something to say? Tell us and we'll tell everybody. Write to info@whvrdigital.com. Are you looking for a bigger, better, faster network or hosting solution? Then BBF Network can help. The good people at BBF Network provide hosting, web design and repair, domain registration, consultations, and troubleshooting services for your home or business. Don't trust just anyone with your network solution. Trust the secure and reliable guarantee of BBF Network. Call today at 855-GO-BBF-HOST. That's 855-GO-BBF-HOST. Or visit them on the web at bbfnetwork.com. Providing secure and reliable hosting plans as little as $4.95 per month, you have everything you need to begin your next project. So call today at 855-GO-BBF-HOST. bbfnetwork.com. Making things happen. The sounds Sounds of Clarity by John Tokarczyk. Relax and free your mind with beautifully produced music by Reiki master and natural healer John Tokarczyk. Delve into the soothing world of clarity with tracks such as Rebirth, Freedom, and Strength. John also offers Reiki sessions, attunements, aura, and house cleansing services upon request. For more information, visit John on the web at jtenergywork.com. Clarity by John Tokarczyk. Now available in hard copy or digital download on iTunes, CD Baby, Amazon, or directly from jtenergywork.com. Talk is cheap, so we buy it in bulk and give it away. WHVRdigital.com. Looking for a bigger, better, faster network or hosting solution? Then BBF Network can help. The good people at BBF Network provide hosting, web design and repair, domain registration, consultations, and troubleshooting services for your
Hello, and welcome back to Live Radio. I'm Mary Marshall, your host, and you are listening to the Paranormal MD Radio Show. I am going to give you the phone number. It's a studio line to call in because Scott will be joining us in just a few minutes, and that phone number is 618-421-4522. One of the things, and I'm going to have to kind of go over this a little bit quickly, but it has to do with some of the products that are out there, which are a little bit crazy. You're aware of, as you know, Google Glass. I'm going to talk a little bit more about Google Glass next week. There's a little bit kind of interest me because now there's sex with Google Glass. Well, not with the glass itself, but providing like a virtual sex. So that's a whole nother topic. But how the one product that is coming into this are two things. And this comes directly from Google, which is their ceiling microphones and inner body microchips. And this is a Google engineer predicts the company's next steps. That Google has obviously put supercomputers in all of our pockets. That the next thing on there is cloud-connected microphones inside ceilings everywhere, virtually connecting you to everything. You're going to be interfaced. We're going to be like humanly interfaced, initially starting with the ceiling mics and then to the chipping. The one thing is that he basically goes on to say is that this is intentionally being spoon-fed to us in increments. And that, some of the problems of it is just getting us used to the technology. The technology is there. And it is going beyond anything that we've ever seen. And most of it we really are not privy to as a public as a whole yet. And if you're dealing with these cloud-connected microphones in the ceiling, and the idea is, there's obviously the plus side to all of these things. And you can have medical assessments. You can sit down in casual thing and say, hey, I want to see the Bears game from 2 Sundays ago. Please pull up highlights. You got it. You're done. Same things are going to happen with our vehicles. We already have the internet in there. They're getting to there's a new one out called a new vehicle, and there's many of them like this, but the Mercedes, it's just a 2014, that it has its own, navigation as far as being able to intuitively stop, and all that sort of thing. And intuitively stop. If you start veering off the road, it will correct and all that type of thing. So that's one thing. It is the ceiling microphones and the inner body microchips that have me concerned. And that according to him speaking to the Guardian, is that Huffman said that his engineering department at Google doesn't want to stop with microphones either. We are looking to a future where we have a whole variety of devices. I don't have a microchip in my head yet, he added. These capabilities are there. I will get into that more when we're talking about that way as I continue my series on transhumanism, because it goes beyond extending life or age reversal. What happens when we start living, indefinitely, if we live to 200 years, 300 years, and so on. But what does this all mean for us as a whole, as far as society, as people, for humanity? And unfortunately, there just doesn't ever seem to be enough time to tackle all of this. So I'm going to spread it out a little each week until we cover it. I want to finish up tonight before we bring Scott on, and it's just basically talk about its big brother. I mean, do we understand what are we doing to ourselves as a human race, as social beings? They are training us. It's not the other way around. They're training us in brainwashing us in a sense to keep going along saying, wow, isn't that cool? This is now going to make my life better and easier. I can't wait. Yeah, it's cool. The technology can save or extend life, but it's at a cost. Maybe at the cost of loss of freedoms and humanity as people. And going beyond that, it's all a matter of cause and effect. The reactions of what we're doing. We're slowly giving up our civil liberties. Yes, we are giving it up over without even realizing we're doing it until it's too late. And what are we going to do? What are we going to do? We're to the other side on so much of this. Sadly, we're kind of like sheep or lemmings. We're allowing ourselves to be, corralled. I think that there is an awakening that is happening. What have we done to ourselves? But at the same time, we look back and go, when did we lose so many rights? Is it too late? I personally think it is too late to turn back the clock. Another thing that bothers me is so much is a working knowledge of that which is not electronic, which will soon be that which is not nanotechnology or the like. I mean, those types of things are being lost. Culturally, the face of humanity is changing in unrecognizable ways. We've lost our individuality. The generation today will never know or experience the social interaction, intimacy, as much as the middle-aged or older generation once did. We have, in some ways, become more aware, but we just still continue to let it happen. We have passed the crossroads, I think, already, where we're headed down a path that although hold no promise, that does hold promise of healing, of life extension, of tremendous help in so many ways, whether it be fantasy, sex with Google glasses, or, those types of things, and just basically enjoyment. But it's also a rabbit hole. We have lost so much of our personal liberties, our humanity, our social and cultural perspective that once, not long ago, we held dear. I want you to I guess my final comment on this is I want you to think about all the Hollywood movies you've ever seen out there. The Minority Report. Yeah, that's really probably our future. We have a lot of that technology now. And the more you learn about what they can do to us as humans, let alone what's out there, you're going to see this play out. What I want to do here on this show is, as I can, pass that information along to you. Other movies you've seen, whether it be Star Trek, Cyborgism, Blade Runner, The Matrix. We are on the cusp of a no return, and our lives could easily and more than likely will resemble the technology social plots from any one of those movies. There are a lot of professional experts out there and ethical futurists, bioethicists that feel the same way. So I just say keep alert and with yourselves and future weeks as we go forward. All right, now enough of that, because very soon we are going to have Scott Gruenwald here on the show. So let's move on to something a little more fun. Scott is a paranormal investigator, comedian, TV journalist, public speaker, and television and internet personality. He has a show titled The Paranormal Stew. Scott is also an investigative TV journalist for a television show called on the Travel Channel. I think my Thermaflu is kicking in. My lips are becoming numb as I speak, and my brain is deadening. Anyway, but what I really want to ask Scott about is his all-nude investigations. Because only Scott would be brave enough and or crazy enough to investigate and do something like this. And I have questions about this with him, and I know you will too. I mean, because seriously, who has not wondered this? At what point, I was questioning. I'm like, what do people who live in nudist communities, if they have a loved one that dies, do they see them nude? Or do they see them with clothes on? Maybe Scott can offer us some insight on this when we come back. So stay tuned. Don't go away.
Of all the radio stations in the world, we're one of them. You're listening to WHVR DB, Ashland. Are you looking for a bigger, better, faster network or hosting solution? Then BBF Network can help. The good people at BBF Network provide hosting, web design and repair, domain registration, consultations, and troubleshooting services for your home or business. Don't trust just anyone with your network solution. Trust the secure and reliable guarantee of BBF Network. Call today at 855-GO-BBF-HOST. That's 855-GO-BBF-HOST. Or visit them on the web at bbfnetwork.com. Providing secure and reliable hosting plans as little as $4.95 per month, you have everything you need to begin your next project. So call today at 855-GO-BBF-HOST. bbfnetwork.com. Making things happen.
Today's world is a busy one, but that doesn't mean you can't listen to your favorite paranormal talk radio shows. Download the free WHVR-DB mobile application and take us with you on the go. With the app, you can listen live, view upcoming guests, interact in our live chat room, and listen to past shows, all from the palm of your hand. Just search WHVR Digital on the App Store, Google Play, or Amazon to download and unlock the power of paranormal talk on WHVR Digital Broadcasting. Download the free WHVR-DB mobile application today and see why talk is our business and business is good.
Deanna Reynolds, the Happy Medium. Located in Ashland, Ohio, the Happy Medium is ready to take your call. Deanna provides intuitive readings from past loved ones, your spirit guides, and those on the other side who wish to speak with you. Are you ready to find that happy medium? Then call to schedule your free reading today at 419-207-0314. That's 419-207-0314. Or find Deanna on Facebook at Deanna Reynolds Happy Medium. Be sure to mention promo code WHVR Digital and receive $10 off of your first reading with Deanna Reynolds, the Happy Medium. Call today, 419-207-0314, and see who's stepping through the veil for you. The Sounds of Clarity by John Tokarczyk. Relax and free your mind with beautifully produced music by Reiki master and natural healer John Tokarczyk. Delve into the soothing world of clarity with tracks such as Rebirth, Freedom, and Strength. John also offers Reiki sessions, attunements, aura, and house cleansing services upon request. For more information, visit John on the web at jtenergywork.com. Clarity by John Tokarczyk. Now available in hard copy or digital download on iTunes, CD Baby, Amazon, or directly from jtenergywork.com. The air staff at WHVR-DB are dedicated to the end. Or until Kmart starts hiring again. Thank you for listening to WHVR Digital Broadcasting.
Hello, and welcome back to the Paranormal MD. You are listening to Mary Marshall, your host, and I am joined by Scott Gruenwald. I've said enough about you. I think without further ado, I'm just going to say, hi, Scott.
Well, hey, Mary, how are you? And I promise not to call you Larry. I do that a lot. I call Marys, Larrys, and stuff like that. But, thank you for letting me come here on your show. I love it.
Well, thank you. I will tell you this, something about with the whole Larry Mary thing, because I had a very close group of gay male friends several years back, and I was at a party, and it was when the term Mary, where they were all calling each other Mary,
I remember
and
that.
it was like a nightmare. I kept turning my head. I think I got whiplash because of my head turning all night long, on there.
A lot of Marys.
There was a lot of Marys.
There is a lot of Marys.
So, those of you who have just joined us, I am speaking with Scott Gruenwald. And Scott has done very interesting things. One, I will tell you, I think generally speaking, you have adult content humor, correct?
It's borderline. Of course, yeah. I know. I have actually wrote out a list of words that I cannot say on the Mary Show, and so I hope you don't. I refer to you as the Mary Show because Paranormal MD. I have a list of words here that I cannot say, and some of them are in different languages, so I have to kind of keep my pants on, so to speak.
That's funny that you said that because do you have that list handy?
I do. It reads kind of like it reads like a slash between George Carlin humor and 50 Shades of Grey. So yeah,
that's kind of interesting. That because I have on my little note here a note to say, okay, Scott, remember the golden rule. Just keep in mind George Carlin's 7 words you can't say.
Oh my God. 3% psychic. Oh my God. Okay. I'm 3% accurate psychically. So I've done that part. We don't even have to go there now. If I actually say the P word, I can't help it because it's.
Well, you can't say that word because it's been backed up. I just talked about this oddly last week on the show. You can say piss. because it's been backed up by the Bible and Shakespeare.
Well, in the Bible, they say the cock crowed 3 times also, so I don't know.
Oh, well, there you go. So I guess, you can say that in the context.
In the context of the Bible. Which is real similar to Google conspiracy stuff. It all started in the Bible, by the way. I don't know if you knew that.
I didn't know that. But, I have to get to this whole nude investigation thing you did. And then we'll move on to clown.
That's funny. It's so true. Okay, ask me anything. I mean, it's quite an unusual concept that seems to be more sexual than it is scientific, and really, it's the latter. I'll just jump in. Doing a naked investigation. Okay, I'll just give you the spiel on it. I was asked to do some stories in Southern California for Paranormal Paparazzi Travel Channel. And they said, go out and find some stories. We're on a kind of hiatus right now. We're doing our first week of just break. And I went out and I found like 20 really good stories. And they were like, you can't do that on the Travel Channel. You cannot do that on the Travel. I did it anyways. And so I filmed this one thing where I met this group called SKIN, the Southern California Investigators Natural. And I thought, these guys have got to be kidding. One's a doctor, a couple psychiatrists, and I mean, it's a professional group of people. I think there's a garbage man in there and a porn star. Another 2 more professional. Anyways, we need them, both of those people. Anyways, so I met with them, and they said that we don't really want to be on film, but we'd like to do a piece on it. But we, the founders, can't do it. So anyways, they set me up with their group, and we go to this real scary East LA famous haunted hospital. And I'm doing this little black box interview thing with one of them. And then I go off and I go, okay, this is Scott Gruenwald. I'm here with a Travel Channel, and we're going to meet up with SKIN here. And I turn around, and they're all naked. Already there's a nakedness right in front of me. And I look over, my camera guy's naked, and so is the lighting guy.
What?
I'm like, God. I'm like, oh. So
that's
what
the rule. They usually, everybody has to be nude.
Or it would be some kind of contamination thing, maybe. I don't know. So I dropped trowel, and which is a weird saying. I don't know why we drop trowel. It's kind of shaped like a trowel, but it's really not even. Anyways, I took off all my clothes, and I'm standing there totally naked, and I'm feeling a bit vulnerable, and it's kind of cold, and it's kind of weird. As I start talking to these people, we start investigating. It becomes something. Sure, it was a little arousing at first. It was very good-looking people, and but after a while, it becomes this thing where you've got nothing to hide now. The other side, the spirits, ghosts, whatever you want to call them, they're on the other side. They're looking at you like, oh my God, these people are naked. So they've got nothing to hide. We're not here to hurt you. I mean, look at, we're showing, and I kind of got that concept. It became something so cool. I started feeling things.
What were you feeling?
I was feeling the other members of the group. No,
okay. It was right there.
It was uncomfortable cupping on my part. It's dark. I didn't know he was standing there. And I'm realizing, if I'm Mary, we're dead. Okay, you and I were dead, and we go to this. We float over or whatever we do to this location. Try not to be too disrespectful to the other side. I have to work with them. And we see these people sitting in a circle. And there's nothing wrong with people sitting in a circle asking questions to a little box on the ground and asking us to go up and show a sign of our presence. But then we go into this other room, and there's 4 or 5 naked people, and I don't know if they're having sex or whatever, but they're investigating. I'd be more apt to show them a sign of my presence. I'd be more apt to show them a sign. Sorry. You know how hard it is to set that joke up? What was it, 5 minutes?
5 minutes to set that joke up. And
5 minutes to set up the show.
And it's such a small bit. Oh.
It's such a small bit, yeah. We talked about that. We've chatted about the size of my
Yes, we did.
I'm not a big man. No, it's not a. I mean, I remember when I was young, and my mom, it was just like, I want to introduce you to a nice girl, and I can't. I'm almost a girl myself. So, anyways, and my mom was the best paranormal investigator I ever met. But back to the naked thing. So then I started doing it at other places, literally. And I started getting a lot more evidence. Nothing I really captured because I'm not really into that, but a lot more personal experiences than I would when I was closed. I went to, I can't even say the places because they told me not to, but let's say I went to this haunted place near Fresno, and which is very scary in its own right. And I've been there a couple times, a couple thousand times, and then I go in there naked, and it just bombarded me. There's so much happening to me. I actually saw something with my own eyes, which is kind of the holy grail of paranormal investigating. A lot of touching. I've got whispers and giggles, a lot of giggles, and a lot of male giggles. But I'm contacting the other side through my vulnerability. So yeah, it was kind of cool. You and I should do it.
Well, if everybody's nude, I could do it because I did that. It's like if you go on to, I was in South Beach, and you do that, just, topless optional thing. Not cool. Yeah. I did that. I woke up with 6 guys camped out around my, and it was not good. But when you go to the hole, it was like, alrighty then, I'm just going to cut. But when I went to the nude beach where everyone was all nude, I was very surprised. I'm sure like you were, how quickly you were like, oh, okay, I could do this.
Well, because the guy with the clothes is the outcast.
Yeah, exactly.
The guy with the clothes is like, okay, we get it, and we don't look at them because I go to nude beaches. I frequent nude beaches. The black, white, and blue, the red, white, and blue with my black friend. I go there, and it's a lot of black there. I go there, and I go, man, that guy must be a pervert because he's got his clothes on. He goes, no, he's just not ready yet. And I go, oh, okay. And by the end of the day, he was hanging out, so to speak. So it's really hard to jump with both boobs, both feet in at once. This is going well.
I'm sure it does. Now, do you think that on that investigation that you really might have gotten more activity and maybe caught more EVPs and whatnot than you would have had you gone in there? Or maybe you have in the past with clothes on.
And I have, because I had been there clothed before. I believe that people come in, Mary, you and I, and Bob Andrews, Carolyn Booz, David Lowery, Alexandra. I'm reading people in the chat room. Let's say we all go to a haunted location, and we're all clothed, okay? And then we go to another haunted location, but we're leaving Bob and David out. The energy's changed. So being with these new people would also contribute to my to a different thing, because I believe all of us bring something to an investigation. We're all maybe one of the girls that was there, she was this gothic girl. Maybe there was a gothic person that, you know what I'm saying? There's an attraction to different people. But going back in there afterwards with clothes on, with the same people, we didn't get anything. I mean, there was really nothing. It was just like, and the guy's like, well, I'm sorry. Well, no, I don't apologize. I mean, our liaison to the location, we got it. We got we got the proof. So in a way around about, yes, I believe that being naked at that location with those people was different because we were naked.
Yeah.
Definitely. And the thing about
everybody's the same.
Everybody's the same. And we're in the dark. We can't really see each other. I cannot see. After they turned the lights off and they went to the infrared light, which is just the camera guys, not us. None of us had cameras. We can't see each other. So it's just an initial spotlight at first when we actually saw each other nude. And then we went through this dark place, and the camera guy was the only one that actually could see us naked. We can't see each other because it's dark. And very low light flashlights, and we're not looking at each other anymore. It's not, and I was with some really, really beautiful women and a really good-looking guy. You always, okay, I don't care who you are, you're going to look at another guy's Johnson. You are, okay, penis, whatever. You're going to look. It's just, you want to know if you're just bigger or whatever it is. It's just a curiosity. There was none of that, and there was no looking at the girl. Now, I know the cameraman was just erect as hell. I mean, he was, and He was. Afterward, he was like, man, I got to go take care of this. And I'm like, well, why didn't you do it in there? Because that would add it to the investigation. Just pleasure yourself to our image or whatever. I know he wasn't looking at it.
Gosh, it's ectoplasma.
It's ectoplasmic residue right in your right in the eye of the ghost. Oh, my God. Mary's show is just taking a nosedive.
I love it. So I do have one more about this nude investigation question, because you did spend time with these people.
Yeah.
So I have a question of, like, do their if it's somebody they know, or even if it's somebody they don't know as nudists, do they see their ghosts with clothes on?
There is such a weird thing about that. There's even books. Jeff Belanger actually wrote a book on it, and so has, I can't remember his name, but there's some books out there written on the subject of why are ghosts clothed. And I believe that when people see a spirit, now we're talking intelligent, because residual hauntings, for people that don't know and that are listening, are just a tape that's played out. The lady in white that walks down the stairs in the white gown, she's not intelligent. She's just when the woman was alive, she'd walk down the stairs so many times that it left this imprint that's what we see. So taking the residual haunting out of it and going to the intelligent haunting, where you ask them a question, they answer you back, they may feel more comfortable with clothes on. Myself, if I was haunting, you would probably catch me naked, because I'm more comfortable like I am right now with no clothes on. So it's my thing. I believe that it's not that they're shy, because they're probably not. It's just how they want you to see them. They do EVP sessions where they'll record. They'll go to Germany, or they'll go to Japan, or they'll go to somewhere else. They don't speak English, and they'll ask questions in English, and the responses come back in English. And people are saying, "Well, why are they in English if you're in Germany or Japan or whatever?" Well, they have the ability to speak to us in our own language. They told me that, and that kind of made sense to me. Why do they have ghosts? They want you to see them how they want to be seen, not in a morgue gown, not in the suit they were buried in, but how they think they look really good. My mother said when she passes away, and I believe that she's there right now, she's going to be in this big white house with all her relatives in this beautiful beaded pantsuit that she looked gorgeous in when she was in her early 30s, because that's how she wants to look in the afterlife.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's it. It's like it changes up how we think about how they're doing what they're doing, and how we're seeing them. Like, how is this happening? I do have to take a brief break.
Okay.
So if you can hang tight, and everybody at home listening, hang tight.
This is your radio on other networks. This is your radio on WHVR Digital Broadcasting. Any questions? Spirit Readings by Nicole. Nicole provides intuitive astrological charts, one-on-one psychic and tarot readings via telephone, Skype, or in person. To schedule your appointment, call Nicole today at 630-532-8494 or visit Spirit Readings by Nicole on the web at spiritreadingsbynicole.com. Spirit Readings by Nicole, 630-532-8494. The Amazing Leonard, one of Chicagoland's best clairvoyants. The Amazing Leonard offers telephone and private one-on-one psychic readings with free long distance to the United States and Canada. Schedule your appointment today at 847-882-4331 or visit AmazingLeonard.com. The Amazing Leonard, gifted psychic. Don't wait. Call or visit today. Soul Connections. Located in Johnstown, Ohio, psychic medium Becky Ratliff offers private readings, angel readings, and tarot readings. Professional development classes and special event bookings also available by request. To set up your confidential reading or appointment, please call 614-208-9802. That's 614-208-9802. Psychic Becky Ratliff of Soul Connections. Call today to see what your future holds. WHVR Digital Broadcasting, now fat-free and low in calories, so you can eat your words.
Thanks for joining me this evening. You're listening to the Paranormal MD Show. And I just want to mention real quick, and I want to tell you about Chumbucket Studios. Jay Bachochin has done my banner and my business cards. And if you've ever wanted to spruce up your marketing material for your business, or wanted to turn those true memories that you have that are on VHS tapes into DVDs, or if you've ever wanted that perfect personalized video for a loved one, then look no further. The sky's the limit with Chumbucket Studios. Anything is possible because it all begins with a little imagination. So please visit chumbucketstudios.com for more information. And joining me in the rumble seat is my guest and your guest for this evening, Mr. Scott Gruenwald.
Hi.
Hey, we're back.
What do you know?
All right. So now I want to know lots of things. I want to know lots of things about you. Is that, how did you get started? I mean, how did you get started down this whole path and leading you to the stew and paranormal paparazzi on travel and so on? How did you get started?
My mother was a paranormal investigator, and we were kind of forced. I'm a twin. We were kind of forced into this lifestyle of gurus around and eating fondue. And
there's another one of you out there.
There's another one of me out here. Yes, I should get him on the phone. And then we fought it, and then my whole life I was raised by myself that way, that the sky is blue for a reason and the grass is green for a reason, and there's no such thing as quantum physics, and everything's got to have an answer, and then blah, 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 and everything's got to have a reason. So I got into the paranormal to prove that there was no such things as ghosts. I was the guy that would watch these ghost shows, and he'd say, the guy's got they're pulling a string, and I wouldn't do it publicly on social media, but I would, to people that know me, they were like, oh, this guy does not believe in anything like this. I went to him. My wife says, why don't you grow some balls and go to this haunted location? I went there and I got kissed by something that wasn't there. That put the shadow of a doubt. Like if someone's not, they can't be proven guilty, and you have to be proven guilty. So in the court of law, same thing is if I couldn't prove that ghosts aren't real, then I had to change. My whole bottom dropped out on my theories. I started going to more locations. I started getting used to speaking equipment. I started spending a lot of money, which I don't anymore. My paranormal kit's about $5. Somewhere along the way, I met a guy named Zach Bagans, and he said, you want to do this show? And I said, okay. And so I did the show, and it was a paranormal challenge show, and it made it to a TV show called The Soup, a thing I did. And then he called me back again. He says, well, I'm doing a new show. Would you like to be on this? And would you like to do this and this and this? Next thing you know, I'm on TV and I'm doing my own kind of thing. I don't have to go really and investigate. I just pretty much got to go and promise not to go to the bathroom on the floor or sing Partridge Family songs. And I worked with Ursula Belsky, and she was laughing so hard that I picked up an old pair of pantyhose I found from a stripper in an old location. And I'm sniffing the crotch because that's what we do. And she couldn't stand it anymore. And so, and then I went to the bathroom on the set and I did a few things, and they go, okay, well, this is what this guy does. But in doing so, things happen. And I came to the realization that possibly the other side doesn't want to be bummed out all the time. I am not a funny man. I am not a comedian of any sort. But I have some pretty good jokes. So we started going to these haunted locations and going on things and being funny, not at the expense of anybody or them, but just talking to him, making jokes with him.
But Scott, being funny is being a comedian.
Okay, all right, you got me.
I know, you know.
I know. I just Google it. You're right.
Google says it.
Google says it in the NSA.
That's right.
Oh my God. I love that. I love the NSA thing. I want to be chipped, and I want them to follow me. I am the total opposite of the world. See, back in when people had early telephones, 1908, this Western Electric telephone was made with a magneto inside, where people would crank the side of it, and it would ring all 10 phones in the farm area. So 2 long rings, 2 short rings was Jim's house. 3 long rings was Mary's house. 1 short ring was Scott's house. But we'd all listen on the other line because we wanted to hear what Mary was selling her baskets for, Jim was selling his hogs for. We started eavesdropping many
You had a party line?
Everybody did in 1908. I wasn't born yet. I was shortly after that. I was born.
Okay.
Yeah, and so and that's it's what we've been listening to each other for forever. And then in the late 70s, we started cocooning, and how that happened was we invented something called the answer machine. Now we don't have to answer the phone anymore; we can screen our calls. So as the years go by and by, we've cocooned ourselves so much that there's no such thing as a door-to-door salesman. It makes any kind of money now, and we don't have to answer the thing. We've got cameras seeing who we are, who's at the door. So we ourselves, our own little selves, are becoming this cocooning.
Well, there's that, like I was saying, it's the personal, intimate, social interaction is really going to go to the wayside. And I mean, that's it. Although it's super cool that Google Glass is going to be developing and probably make it unbelievable eventually, like virtual sex. That sounds awesome. However, 100 years, from now, there was a movie like that, some really bad movie with Sylvester Stallone where they just no longer had physical contact for sex. They just put things on their head. We wouldn't have to do that. We could just use, the chips in our head, and we'd never have to leave our homes, ourselves, any of it.
Well,
I mean,
okay. I'm a chronic masturbator, so it really doesn't want to affect me much. But I know in that movie, I'm sitting across from Sandra Bullock, and she's saying,
it would affect you.
I don't know.
Because you'd never leave your room.
Well,
you'd just walk around and
do it.
Do it, and you wouldn't have to touch yourself, and it would just be doing it for you.
Stop it! I get it. Oh my God! Remember the movie Sleeper with Woody Allen? The orgasm ball or whatever it was. They handed it around at parties, and they would just hold this ball, and they would achieve an orgasm. It was like, I want that ball. But I want a smaller version that I could wear in my shoe so nobody could tell. I'd have a funny limp and a stain on the front of my pants. That's what I would look like in 30 years.
Well, they'll have nanotech clothing, and it'll cover up the stain.
Stop it again.
So,
oh my God.
Now, have you ever had anybody get upset at you or angry at you because you've parodied them or the like?
One, so we do this thing called The Stew, and there was 2 paranormal shows on the web. I mean, that a long time ago. This fucking years ago, and we're talking. I said talking, not the F word. Talking years ago, and there was this live sci-fi with Tim Wood, and there was the Haunted Wolf Manor live, and there was these only 2 shows, and I had created and produced the Wolf Manor live show, and we did it for years, and then we stopped one day, and I was walking around the house, and my wife and my sister goes, okay, we'll do one show. We'll call it The Stew, and we'll just, have bricks chases around and whatever, and have a psychic dog and whatever. And so we did that, and people were like, do it again. And so we kept doing it. Now we've done it for a few years now. It's coming back in 2 weeks. But in doing so, when we did this, we would parody people, and we didn't know how that. We did this thing with Mark and Debbie Constantino. I played Mark Constantino, of course, because I look a lot like him and it sounds like him. And my sister did Debbie Constantino, and what Mark's trying to say is, and we sent them the video, and we thought, and they didn't answer for like 3 weeks, and we're like, oh my God, You know, this is the one that is going to get upset. Well, then they hit us up. Oh, we've been on vacation. It's on our website. And it's like, okay, good. So not really. We had I can't say his name because of legal reasons, but and we have been sued a couple of times. This one guy got really, really upset. And the funny thing is, we weren't even talking about we weren't even talking about him. We were just talking about this study, and he really got pissed off, and he started writing letters. And of course, my lawyers are barracudas; they ate him up. But yeah, that was the one.
Really?
And he'll change his name on Facebook, and he'll say things to me in my messages. It's me again, and I'm going to get you. And oh my God.
There's always going to be somebody that
he's in the chat room. I know he's here. See, that's I'm looking over my shoulder.
And he's found you. Oh no!
This armless guy in a wheelchair is going to kick my ass. I know he is.
So, have you done anything with clown porn lately?
You know what? It has its ups and downs. I did two. I was in the industry in the 80s. I did sound. And started sound and lighting for a couple, I guess I can't say their names, Dark Brothers. And then one day I stepped in front of the camera. I did Taboo 5 and Taboo 6. And I thought, and my mom found out. Oh my God, my mom found out. My mom is the essential Jewish mother, kind of, in a way. When she finds out, she's cool and hippie-like when she was like one way, but she found out that we were doing something weird. And she's not even Jewish, right? So then she would flip out. And anyways, it's going to ruin your career. You're going to you're going to schmutz and all this, right? And actually, it kind of sent me into the world of, I did Falcon Crest and some other stuff. And it never really hurt me, like I thought it was. Now I speak open of that in my years in prison, my drug addiction, and all that. Well, is he? Okay, sorry. But yeah, so clown porn is like, it's not a good industry because too many people are afraid of it.
Particularly that, or, well, okay, I'm going to stop this because I wanted you to go back, and because some people may not be familiar with some of the things that you were talking about. How with your drug addiction, as far as incarceration and that type of thing? What
was it all about?
Yeah.
Yo. Well, I had this weird thing where I would drink and wreck my car. And it was, I don't know, call it paranormal? I think not. After my 6th drunk driving, and numerous times I'd smashed cars up. I never hurt anybody. Luckily, I never killed anybody. But I was this raging alcoholic. After going through the early television stuff and all that, I got addicted to cocaine and methamphetamine and different sex things, And so I became this full-blown addict. It got to a point where I was, I started in these really nice underground clubs where there was like a lot of cool, like Studio 54 and a lot of cool people. And I wound up, smoking meth, in a cardboard box. And that's basically the rundown of it. January 21st, 1998, cops kicked in my door and arrested me for trafficking. I was looking at 32 years.
Wow.
Yeah, and so after doing 5 already, and then I ended up doing 2, after doing 7 complete years in prison, I was done. So January 22nd, 1998 was my first day clean, and I haven't touched it since, and I'm coming up next week on 16 years sober. So,
wow, well, congratulations.
Thanks. But it's part of who I am, and it's in my book, Clowns Fighting with Wrenches, never to be released.
Is this an ongoing book that you're writing?
Yes, and it's really a trippy book. It has everything in it. It's embellished, of course, because my life isn't that great. But it's a really cool book, and there's a lot of facets to it. I was able to find a ghostwriter, no pun intended, for the paranormal part of it, because I really didn't understand how to write a book. I'm a good reader, but I'm a horrible speller and a bad putting together words guy. So I got Lisa Spunk Monkey. She's in the chat room right now. Is my money penny. She actually did a countdown. If I don't have her in my life, I don't go to the dentist. I don't go to a Paranormal MD show. I can't do anything
Well, thank you, Lisa.
Yeah, she counted down. Why aren't you on right now? I go, I'm not until 7. Why? Well, I don't know. I don't know why. But in 45 minutes, 44 minutes, 40, and it's okay, Monday, Penny. I love it. But I mean,
thank God for her, right?
Oh God, I wouldn't know. I'd wear my pants backwards and walk around. Well, I do that anyways. But yeah, I don't. I had we put fangs in my. That's why I have a list. But I had fangs put in today for a shoot tomorrow, and they suck big time. They're not. It's a kind of a weird thing. So
are they like glued?
Yeah, they have to stay in because of this rubber stuff. I can't eat. I'm not supposed to be smoking. I can't shoot any heroin. I mean, there's a lot of guidelines.
A lot of rules.
A lot of rules for being on a upcoming episode of Blank. Yeah.
Oh, you can't say?
It has werewolves and vampires. I can say that. So.
Okay. It has werewolves and vampires. Okay, everybody listening, rack your brains. Get back to me. Email Mary.
It's not hard to figure out. It's a good show.
Let me know. So did you, I mean, you could not even have imagined, I'm sure, where you are at from where you started. Does this help your motivation to stay sober?
It does. I have a few friends.
There's so much more to lose, right?
Right. And the thing about it is my children, all I have to do is pull up my wallet out and look at my 50 children's pictures. Now, to look at my kids' faces, and that's really my higher power to keep me sober in a recovery sort of sense. I mean, I have my God. It just may not be the same as yours, but, mine looks like Kramer from Seinfeld, but and he does. And that's why I keep a picture of Kramer in my wallet as well, because my God definitely has a sense of humor for what I've been through. But yeah, it's I know a lot of I went with Aaron Sagers and a lot of the guys from the Travel Channel, Paranormal Paparazzi. They got me into these secret underground clubs and stuff, and really cool places in New York City, and I got to live there for a while. And they're all very well mannered people in a nightclub, but it took me back to the times when I was in that case.
Right.
Yeah. So I've been tempted at times. I spoke at a place, and I went up, and there was a girl in my hotel room, a young lady in my hotel room with drugs in my hotel room. And I'm like, all I could do is I went down and asked for another room. I said, I'll be right back. I mean, I didn't know what to do.
Yeah. Well, good for you.
Yeah.
I mean,
wait, you were there. That's right. It was that place. Remember when we were at that time? Was it you? I'm sorry. Yeah.
It was another blonde.
She did turn around, maybe. There. No, yeah, I know. I tried to sit with you too. There was, but it was that location. It was, I don't remember where we were at. Where did I meet you? In Ohio?
Wisconsin.
Wisconsin. That was a great event.
Yeah. I was so sad because I got sick and then I couldn't keep, hanging out with you. So
I know. I saw you. Our eyes met across a crowded patio. Remember that?
That's right. Through a cloud of smoke.
A cloud of smoke with 3 people on the patio. And that was what I think. It wasn't that crowded. Yeah. It's like me, you, and Rosenbaum. Yeah.
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 But there was a cloud of smoke, though. Well, now, I guess then, you're still working on, and I'm still trying to figure out what's the deal with why we do not get Paranormal Paparazzi here on the Travel Channel. I don't get that. This must be like some sort of like the satellite carrier or whatever.
Yes, that and the fact that they canceled it is it's one of those two things. I'm not sure if it's
when did it get canceled? See, I don't even know because I can't.
Now it happened quite recently. They were going to redo it, but as Zach has a new project now, I can't speak about it, but it's going to be a good one. I'm always involved in something. He always lets me have a piece of it. But we did it, and it became popular in other countries. We got 3 out of 5 stars. I mean, 3 out of 10 stars, or I don't know, 3.5. But we had fun doing it, and it looks good on my IMDb. I'm very fortunate to work with the people from Howard Stern, and those guys, Rachel Fine was an amazing woman from Howard TV, and then Richie Wilson from the Howard Stern Show really took me under their wing in New York City. So I met some really good folks. Of course, working with the great Aaron Sagers is Yeah, I mean, that guy's like a comic book encyclopedia. He's incredible to talk to. But yeah, so it got canceled, and you know what? It was the perfect time for that to happen in my life, because something else happened right after that, which is just as fun, I should say.
Can you elaborate?
Well, it's you have to pay to watch it. Let's just say that. I'm not paying for that, but I will. As soon as they air the first one, then I get to talk about it, because if I even start talking about it more, I have to pay them $1 million.
That would be bad.
That would be bad for a guy that makes $500 a week cleaning out people's garbage cans. It would be tough.
Yeah, that would be a little rough. We don't want you. I don't want you to have to do that.
No, I don't want to do that.
Now, one other thing I do, going back to when you were doing this, Stu, and you said you may be starting that up again, is that how did this whole don't watch it thing start?
It's a horrible show, Mary. It's probably the worst web show. I'm not kidding you. Ask Alexandra. She will tell you, who's seen all the episodes. It's horrible. There's no good content to it. It's right off the cuff. We tried to produce them before, where we're going to do this a certain way, and it turned out really crappy because we overproduced it. So we just would wing it. About 5 minutes before the show, it's a web show. About 5 minutes before the show, we write down on a whiteboard what we want to do. Okay, we want to do Amy Allen. We want to do the Mary Marshall thing. We want to do different things. And then as we're looking at that, it just bounces. We go to a commercial break, and then we come back in full regalia or whatever. Because I'm sitting in the studio right now, and it's just wall to wall of props and evil dolls and lights and just and a workbench that Johnny, my lovely son Johnny, can make anything. I said I need an AK-47 in about 3 minutes. He'll have one sitting there in front of me. I mean, the guy is an amazing man. So, and then we have Jesus and George Martinez. One drives a forklift, and the other one carries radioactive material around the country. And both of these guys, they created television shows numerous times. They work on our show, doing the sound and stuff. We have this really nice following of some really great people. But people say, well, that's just reverse psychology. You tell us don't watch it, we're going to watch it. No, I'm telling you right now, it's crap. Don't watch it. And if you do watch it and we say something that, like, we make fun of your hair, I'm sorry, I told you.
Don't watch it.
Yeah, this damn thing. But we're coming back to a week from Saturday, and we've been out for almost a year.
Well, when I'm out there in California in June, we've got. I want to do something with you, some type of work, something, whether it be the stew. I don't care. We just got to, because you are just an awesome person to improv play with.
You're fun. We had fun.
Yeah, we did, and I just think it'd be awesome.
And it was like, all of a sudden we were doing a bit, and there was nobody there to laugh. But you and I were talking. It was like we played well off each other.
But we amused ourselves, and that's all that matters.
I got a standing ovation. I don't know about you. It was good fun.
It was.
And you had to come down here. What part of where are you coming in California? Were you coming to LA?
Because I'm going to be doing that paranormal summit thing. You're actually doing that summit.
Oh, yeah?
And at the Glen Tavern Inn.
Oh, Lisa, write that down.
That he's doing it. Lisa, he's supposed to be doing this. I'm sure Lisa knows.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I'm sure she knows. So I will see you then.
The Dan Guthrie thing.
Yeah.
I can't. Yeah.
So I'm going to be in town for a week.
Oh, we're doing stuff.
So we'll have to hang out.
Have you ever been to Universal Studios?
I have not. I've never been to California.
Oh, my God.
I lead a sad, sad life.
Oh, my God. Well, you live in Ohio?
No, Illinois.
Illinois.
Chicago. Yeah, Northwest Chicago area. Yeah.
Right outside of Chicago for a while.
Yeah, so I know. I'm trying to get a life, so I've got to start, doing things here.
Is there a man in your life? Who's the boy? Is it your sound guy, Steven? Who are you dating now? Is it none of my business?
Who am I dating?
Yeah, I want to know.
It's none of your business.
Thank you.
There you go.
I'm sure she's a nice lady. So, yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
You never know. Life is.
I don't know.
And maybe if you're really nice to me when I see you in June, I may tell you.
I may camp out next to your towel.
Just like I'm going. No, it's going to be like South Beach all over again.
Oh my God, South Beach is awesome. I love South Beach.
Yeah, like I said, but that was a strange incident. But anyway, so now I keep going through my questions here. Because you are working, obviously, in the paranormal realm a lot, what has been one of your, like, scariest, I want to poop myself moments?
And I did. Wolf Manor, 2007, crawl space about 5 feet off the ground in the basement. I climbed in there. Mother died 3 days before this. They told me don't go to this particular location because you're vulnerable. It's something bad there, and you're not on your game. And I'm like, I have to do this to keep myself busy. That's the worst thing you can do. If you've lost somebody, don't keep yourself busy. Take a minute. If you're out there and you've just lost somebody, take a minute and give yourself a little break. But I didn't. And I crawled in this place, and I went to get out, and something grabbed my ankles and pulled me back in. Now, that sounds a bit ridiculous. So I forced myself out of the hall, fell on the concrete, split my skull open, and wound up in the hospital. In the hospital, I kept thinking, was it a cat? But I can remember the hand around the ankles, and I'm like, this doesn't happen. People don't get grabbed like this. There had to be another guy in there. So I'm on the phone. I'm in the hospital on the phone talking to Alexandra. I'm talking to all these people. There's somebody in there. Tell me who it was. If there wasn't, just tell me there was somebody in there. I am having nightmares. This stuff is going on. And I think that probably was the scariest. Now, I know there's no real case of a ghost hurting a human being. We just get scared and fall down the stairs. We get scared and fall out on our skulls. But that was definitely that, and that was one of the scariest. And during the nude investigation, I saw a figure standing in a doorway that was small, but not a child small, like it was trying to look like a child, I guess, and I never see things really much. Only a couple times I've ever really seen something. And that startled me so much that a fledgling investigator, a new person, had to go, hey, don't get scared. And I'm like, and I look at the playback on that, and I'm like, someone actually had to tell me to don't be scared because I'm like this big ballsy guy, I think, until I put naked in a situation like that. But that did scare me. But I think the first one at Wolf Manor in Clovis, California, when it fell on my head, that was probably one of the... Now, I've seen some evidence that I've gathered of the man baby and different entities and stuff.
Man baby?
We, during the filming of the show, we did a live show. So we had, I don't know, hundreds of people, I guess, watching, maybe, I don't know. And a lot of people were watching, and they share a chat room. And we had sent a guy up that doesn't like to be in the house by himself. He said, here's the camera, here's the live feed on it. And go up there and get your equipment. Now, we put his equipment up on the bed in this place called Mary's room. They had an adjoining bathroom to another room we called the Black Nursery. And it's just this really creepy little hallway. It used to be a bathroom, but it's kind of more of a hallway now. And this place is really kind of beat up, it's kind of spooky. So he's up there and he's like, I'm just going to get my stuff and I'm going to get over, and he's got the camera and he hears a noise and he runs out. We don't think anything. Good night, everybody. Thank you for joining us here at the Wolf Manor. We'll see you next week, right? The chat room is going friggin' crazy. We're not watching it. We're tired. We're rolling up cords. We're going home. This chat room, MySpace, everybody's throwing stuff on MySpace. Everybody's emailing us, emailing Todd and his professional, Todd Wolf, the owner, his space. There was something in that room. I mean, hundreds of people saw it on the live feed. We didn't notice it because we're tired. We want to go home. Okay. Playing it back, we stopped the film, and there's this sinewy little creature, looks like Golem, very distinctive, arms, legs, little head, sitting there in the doorway watching Terry. Now, it kind of looks like a cat. It's not a cat. Could it be? It's definitely something sitting there. So we talked to Marco David Constantino. We sent it to a university. We sent it to all these film labs. We sent it everywhere. And it came back, people like Marco David Constantino, Vegan Mel, Andy Kopic, all these people that are predominant in the paranormal going, that's the thing I saw when I was there. That's the thing that I saw when I was there. So this thing, this entity, Pukwudgie, whatever you want to call it, that's a Native American term for it's like a little person that's never became, it's an elemental. This little thing, it's a cute name too, Pukwudgie, when it's probably like Lucifer is who it really was. But I can just see, Legion going back to hell and they're going, hey, they call Legion Man Baby. Anyways, so this thing, Man Baby, became one of the most spookiest things we have ever captured. Another time
it's so bizarre.
Well, it's a man, it's a baby. That's all we could call it, is a man baby. These things that there's a man named Thomas Durand. He works at the Vatican, and he's an amazing spiritualist. He was there one night. He goes, "I'm going to introduce you to something called the Pukwudgie," and I'm like, "Well, I'm already scared. Go ahead." And he goes, "You'll see one here in a minute." And then I saw the shadow go across the room. I go, "What was that?" He goes, "That was it." And I go, "Why did you do that?" And he goes, "Well, now you'll see him everywhere you go." And I go, "What a right?" So he says that's probably what that was. Their arms stretch out really far, and they're guys for the other side. And if there's a Native American out there listening, and I'm totally screwing up this whole logic on this, then please chime in the chat room, because I really don't know much about that. But yeah, and another time we were showing, we had these cabinet doors that we would open and close. Same old story. Every haunted house has them. We put a camera on it, and oh, sorry about that. We put a camera on it, and to capture the doors opening, the cabinets opening and closing, and there was a ball sitting on the counter. We didn't see it. We just were watching the cabinets. Well, apparently the ball did a complete 180. Not like it rolled, it just twisted. So that was another thing that we had caught doing these live broadcasts. So it's been kind of a wild ride and a lot of spooky stuff. I don't go there anymore. It's just kind of sitting empty right now, and I can only imagine what they're doing in there.
A lot of the places that I've been to, I just, you go. There's that mix. I have to admit, you do want to have a personal experience. You don't want anything horrible, but I haven't had anything too much that's been benign but interesting. It's either goes like this is going to be something really bad, or that's actively showing, involving, touching, following me home, whatever the situation is, or it's just rather boring. Is on the personal experience level. I might get a ton of evidence, but you don't. You see, now you're not like your atypical investigator. You keep it very basic.
I have to. I don't understand the blinky lights. My theory is, and it's simple, I would like to do investigations like they did 100 years ago or 200 years ago. I'm talking to something that's from the past and years ago, possibly. I'm carrying some lights and a blinky helmet and all these thermal cams and all that. If I was dead from a long time ago and I looked at that stuff, I'd be like, I don't know if I want to be near those people.
Right.
A bell, a candle, and a compass is all I use. No, I don't capture anymore.
You know what? I can totally see that approach. I think it depends on, I know that there's a 5% probably of the investigative teams out there are really doing things in such a way that anything can be documented and scrutinized as solid, proof, whatever that means. Everything else, especially in this digital age, is up for, scrutiny.
It is.
Anyway, and so, but I get what you're saying, though, about, like, even with the lights and using the bell. I thought about you because I have an investigation this Saturday. And just for the heck of it, I'm like, I am bringing a bell with. And I'm just going to set it down because, to me, that's the same, in a different way. If they can make a noise with that as they can with coming in and invading a REM pod into the, electromagnetic field space and make a noise. So it's the same kind of difference.
Well, I don't know how a REM pod works, but I know how a bell works. I can take a bell apart. I can't put it back together, but I know the basics, but a K2 meter and all that, I don't know how to, God bless the people that know how to use that stuff and know how to use it correctly. Because I buy it, read the manual, take it apart, buy two, take one apart, put it back together, understand it, be that person that knows that thing instead of just a person that buys one because somebody carries one on TV. A bell is very recognizable and it's very simple and it's not intimidating whatsoever.
I always think of it was, I think, a movie in the 60s with Kim Novak, Bell Book and
Candle.
Yeah.
And it was Jimmy Stewart, Kim Novak, and they had a cat named Pyewacket.
Yep. Yeah, I haven't seen that in years. I have probably what might be my last question for you this evening. And I'm not going to ask you if you were a tree. What tree would that be? No. What are some of your...
A weeping willow.
Weeping willow.
Why not?
No. What are some goals that you have for this year, like career-wise, personally, or do you even make that much of a plan as far as your...
I can't. One of my major goals is spend more time with my family. I travel a lot, so now I bring them with me.
That's nice.
Yeah, it's got. They're getting older now. The youngest one just got his driver's license, and I cried. It was like, they're 30, 32, and 17. But it's like I steer towards that. Everything else, I don't really try to get things on TV and movies and stuff like that. They just kind of come to me, and not because I'm a real great guy. No, it's not. It's just that's how I get that stuff. I'll leave that up to the actors and the professionals that do it for a living to go and audition and stuff. I'll just show up every once in a while on your TV, and you'll go, I know that guy, and he's naked. Yes.
Well, it's nice, though, that you can get your kids involved in this with you now and have them there. Well, I want to, say hi to your lovely bride, Linda.
Yes, she's right here.
And I want to thank you very much for joining me this evening. And as always, it's just a pleasure speaking with you. And hopefully at some point, when you're just so big that you'll come back and, do the little show like mine.
I will always do your show. You're the one you got more chatters than I've ever had. So I'm sitting in the presence of greatness here.
So
I love you, Mary. Thank you for this opportunity.